I'm Stacey Holmes, and this is Glordinary, a few moments where we celebrate God's glory and champion the ordinary. I'm glad you're here. In a few days, my house will be quieter. It'll be emptier. Our daughter's moving into her college dorm room, and even though her bedroom here won't actually be empty, it will feel empty without her in it. A moment of silence for all the mamas out there surviving college drop-off week. Ugh, who invited this pooper to the party? Me. I invited her. I am her. But stay with me here a moment. I think there's something to these empty spaces, or at least that keeps echoing in my soul. We touched on it 2 years ago on our original Summer of Sabbath series, and you can refresh with episode number 24, Sounds Boring, Sabbath Empty Spaces. Ah, yes, the empty space, the gaps between the activities of our busy lives, the gaps between seasons, the pauses, the stillness, and yes, even the boredom, because that emptiness allows the echoes to be heard more clearly. The echoes become more noticeable. Only in the emptiness, in the stillness. I'll explain. A couple weeks ago, my family did some hiking in the Canadian Rockies. Again with the Rockies, Stace? I know. But like I said, it's echoing. So I gotta share it with you, friend. And while there, we did 4 different hikes through canyons. 2 hikes above the canyons looking down into them, and 2 from the bottom looking up with towering canyon walls surrounding us. But here's what I noticed about the canyons. The echo is insane. Whether looking down into the emptiness or standing within it looking up, those empty spaces carried sound like a pinball echoing off the canyon walls. I've thought about those canyons all week as I sat with my Bible and morning coffee, because just like those canyons, God's really good at echoes too. And you've probably heard me say this once or twice, but God knows how to speak to you in a way you know how to hear. He knows how to speak to me in a way I know how to hear. And one of the ways he does this is through echoes on repeat. Did you hear me? Oh, it's true, my friend. It's the scripture you read in the morning only to see it again randomly on a garbage truck of all places. It's the peace that passes all understanding with each new wave of grief and sorrow. It's the leading for the next right step, and then the next, and the next. I could go on and barely scratch the surface of ways God echoes out his love, his leading, his peace be still presence. And maybe that's part of the gift of empty spaces. They don't make God speak. They make room for us to hear. Oh, but we fear those empty spots, right? We dread them, just like I don't love packing up Sophia only to see the empty space in our home, in our driveway. So we rush to fill the gaps, the empty spots, the silence. We reach for our phones unknowingly, and I think at this point, it's more of a reflex than an active choice. We don't even realize we do it. Standing in a line? Nope, we check headlines. In traffic? False, we watch reels. Feeling antsy or bored? Negative. We add to cart. And done. We entertain ourselves, amuse ourselves. We tune out, check out, veg out, scroll out. We reel out, game out. Just one more episode out. We binge out. We shop, we text, we conspiracy theory. Because that's a 2-hour documentary of time we'll never get back. We impulsively cram full every possible nook and cranny of that empty space, because we don't want to feel it. But what if there's value to the void? What would it look like to stop trying to fill those empty spaces, to stop trying to amuse the empty spaces? Well, it'd probably feel uncomfortable, maybe boring. Lonely? But what if those become the spaces we're more able to hear the echoes of God's love, assurance, his word to us? I was reminded of this as I read 1 Samuel 3 this morning. It's the story of the boy Samuel, who would become Israel's leader and prophet. It was Samuel who would later anoint the first king, Saul, and then the second, King David. But in 1 Samuel 3, he's still a boy who has literally grown up in the tabernacle, learning from and serving Eli, the priest of the time. And as Samuel lies down to sleep one night in the quiet, empty space, he hears a voice, Samuel. He runs to Eli's side. Here I am, you called me. I didn't call, Eli says. Go back and lie down. And this pattern continues 2 more times until Eli finally, the 3rd time, realizes God himself is speaking to Samuel, and he instructs the boy, go and lie down, and if he calls you, say, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Once again, the voice calls for Samuel. 4 times God speaks out Samuel's name, and that's what I call an echo, a repetition in the quiet, empty space. But notice a couple things here in Samuel's story. God is not absent. Did you hear me? He's right there in the quiet of the night, because empty and absence are not the same thing. And empty places don't mean God's absent. Next, notice Samuel's response to the echo. Scripture doesn't tell us Samuel knew it was God. It says the opposite, actually. 1 Samuel 3:7 says, Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not yet been revealed to him. God was speaking before Samuel even knew it was him. It was Eli the priest who recognized that it was the Lord who was calling Samuel. Eli helped Samuel understand what he was hearing, who he was hearing. Which leaves me asking, God, what are you echoing to me? What are you saying to me in this season of my life? Maybe you, like me, are feeling an empty space right now. Maybe that's a literal void of someone's absence, or maybe you just feel antsy in your soul. Maybe you can't quite place it, can't quite name what it is. Maybe something just feels a little off, a little different. It's a beautiful gift to come back to Sabbath. One day a week where our schedule is paused, emptied, not because God only speaks on the Sabbath, but because the Sabbath can help us listen. 2 years ago, we talked about choosing to create empty spaces with the help of Sabbath, about allowing ourselves to be bored, to stop filling every available moment. 2 years ago, we asked, what if we intentionally left some empty space, chose some empty space? But that was 2 years ago. And today, I'm learning something else about empty spaces. Sometimes we don't choose them. Sometimes the empty space chooses us. And I'm reminded each time I see that emptying bedroom, empty doesn't mean absent. God wasn't absent from Samuel's quiet room, and he won't be absent from the quieter spaces in my life either. So maybe I don't need to rush to fill them. Maybe I can let them be empty for a while. Maybe I can sit in the quiet, even when it's uncomfortable, sad, or just plain old empty. And maybe I can echo Samuel's prayer. Speak, Lord. I'm listening. Remember, you're not alone in this. I'm praying for you, friend. Have a glordinary day.